Hey moms, and today we are talking about the dramatic effects that constipation has on your pelvic floor and specifically prolapse. Let's talk about it. First, let's do a quick overview, just a quick summary of what a prolapse is. So you've got your pelvic floor, right? Matter of fact, let me get my pelvic floor. Here is the model pelvis, all right? Here is your pelvic floor. These are your pelvic floor muscles. When you have a prolapse, it is when the organs of the pelvis, either the bladder, the uterus and vagina, and the rectum will start to descend. So normally the organs, here we go, we're now looking inside of the pelvis. The organs are held and supported by these muscles, by ligaments, also the bony structures. All of it works together as a system to hold your organs up and in place and to keep them well functioning. If you have pelvic floor dysfunction in the way of leaking pee or prolapse, let me put my pelvis down, then constipation can have a really detrimental effect on your pelvic floor. Okay, so the organs of the pelvic floor. So we've got our model bladder, and here is the uterus right on top of that. And then we have the rectum, okay? And inside of our bodies, inside of that model pelvis I just showed you, these organs are literally sandwiched and married and living neighbors right on top of each other. Can you see, right, where the rectum is compared to where the uterus is and the vagina? You see that? Imagine, mamas, that you're constipated, okay? You are backed up and you've got hard stool that has been in there for however long, and it is compacted and it is uncomfortable and tight. Can you imagine and see if the rectum is full, if you've got poop in there and it ain't moving, it is putting a tremendous amount of pressure, right? Literally bulging into your uterus and your vagina. And this pressure downward and outward from the constipation, that is the part that makes it so detrimental to the pelvic floor. That pressure of the hardened stool, it causes the pelvic floor muscles to have to overwork. They can become overworked, tired, and weak. And when a muscle is tired, or groups of muscles are overworked, tired, weak, overstretched, all these things, they do not function well. Okay? And when organs of the pelvic floor or of the pelvis are pushing into each other or causing downward or outward pressure, then it's going to directly affect any issues or dysfunction that you have going on with your pelvic floor. So if you have issues going to the restroom, right? Even just a little, some of us don't even realize how backed up we are and that we are actually considered constipated. If you are not voiding on a very regular basis and in a way where you can sit comfortably and really just breathe and relax and allow it to come out like it should, then you could actually have constipation. Now, I went years thinking I was fine and I was pooping like 3 times a week, okay? Some of you probably resonate with that. That is not normal. That is not okay. And every time I went to the restroom, I never just sat, I never just relaxed my muscles and allowed it to come. It was a struggle. So on top of, let me grab my organs again, right? On top of the poop that is in here and clogged up and it's putting strain and pressure into the other organs, I'm now sitting on the toilet, which is more pressure downward, and now I'm having to struggle and strain and push, okay? Can you imagine having backed up stool that's already hard and it's pushing into your uterus and into your vagina. And now you go to try to void and you are straining and struggling and pushing down. All of that downward pressure and mixed with the stool, it just makes everything worse, mamas. Everything. So I'm going to give you some tips for what you can do to help with the constipation and your pelvic organ prolapse. Number one, mamas, staying hydrated. It's as simple as that. And I know you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but it is so, so important. You have to be drinking enough fluids, right? And I don't mean coffee, sodas, fruit punch, stuff like that. Really, water. Maybe some healthy teas to keep your bowels moving and to keep things flowing and to keep you hydrated, okay? That's my first tip. Plain and simple. Drink more water, all right? I mean, don't go drowning yourself in water, but you have to make sure you're not dehydrated. Number two, mamas, what are you putting in your mouth? I ask my kids this all the time when they come to me with bowel issues or really any issues. What we are consuming, it matters so much to our overall health and wellness. You have to be eating foods that's going to promote good bowel movements, that's going to promote that movement and motility through the system, all right? Eating your leafy greens, eating your cruciferous vegetables, eating lots of fiber. Not too much, don't go crazy on fiber, but you have to eat things that are going to be helpful and useful for getting your bowels in a really good rhythm and flow. My suggestion number three, if you find that this is beneficial for you and it doesn't upset you, try or consider a good probiotic. Probiotics are really, really good in helping to support that good, healthy gut bacteria. And our gut is what our bowels pretty much are, and we need them healthy so they can function appropriately. Number three, mamas, do not sit on the toilet for too long. Even though it may seem like, well, if I need to poop and stuff is stuck, shouldn't I sit there for it to come out? But sitting on the toilet for extended periods of time, mamas, it just causes so much pressure down on an area in a system that is already dysfunctional, okay? I give myself a couple of minutes tops. If it doesn't come, I accept it's just not time and I get up, period. Don't spend all day on the toilet. Don't take books into the bathroom with you. Don't take your phone, okay? Which leads me to the next tip. I don't even remember what number I'm on. Let the restroom time be a time for relaxation and ease. I know that might sound weird because we're talking about going to the toilet and doing our business, but to get the pelvic floor to relax and to help it to do what it naturally wants to do, we have to go in with relaxation and in a calm way so that our body can properly respond. If we're rushing and going fast and we're all tight, then that poop gonna stay right where it is. We've got to relax and allow. And restroom time should not be associated with stress or rushing or something negative. We have to let our restroom time really be a time of peace and ease. All right? My next suggestion, only go when your body is giving you that natural urge and sensation that the poop is coming out. No struggle, no pushing, no straining. Mamas, this is so important. Remember the downward pressure into the pelvic floor. This is so detrimental for the prolapse. If your body is not giving you that natural sensation, right? Because there's a natural sensation that comes when you really are ready to release. If your body's not giving you that, if you're just not there yet, then don't go. We want to build up, of course, to having regular, smooth, and easy bowel movements. But in the beginning, going when you're not ready and trying to struggle and strain to get it out, it's going to cause you more problems. And my last tip, mama, something you probably have not considered and maybe have never even heard of, because I know it was very weird to me when I first heard it. Get you an initial consultation with a really good and highly qualified pelvic floor physical therapist. Not just a regular physical therapist, unless they're super duper awesome and knowledgeable in the pelvic floor. You want a pelvic floor PT or a pelvic physio, a pelvic floor physiotherapist. Look for one in your area. Go and have an initial consult, because there could be things internal that are contributing to the constipation, and a good PT can give you so much more guidance and tips and support on how to have healthy bowels, okay? So what I really need for you to do now is click right here so we can keep the momentum going with all things core, pelvic floor, and living a healthy, happy life.